So students, the next topic after recursion is introducing access control. Okay. So now in Java, as I said, there are 4 access specifiers: default access specifier, public access specifier, protected access specifier, private access specifier. In detail, you will see the concept when you will see this concepts in the chapter number 9, that is packages and interfaces. But for right now in this program, what is the demonstration is the heading. You can see the command line number 1 to 3, difference between public and private. You all know this, but actual thing is what it is explaining in this program is how we can access the private access specifier from outside and how we can assign the values to it. Public means we can access from outside also. You all know this. So you all please observe here how it's done is, so you can see in line number 18 in main class, OB is an object to the above class. Now, how to assign the values of A, B, C? You see, A is a default access. We can access it, okay, from outside the class. So this variable A will be initialized with the value 10, and this variable 20 is initialized with the value. This variable B is initialized with the value 20. OB dot B equal to 20. But you see the variable C is private. So you can see over here line number 23. You cannot access in this way. Just a second. Okay, then. What I was talking about is now, that is how to assign the variable C in the class test. That is the thing you have to see here. As the variable C in class test is private, so you cannot directly assign. You can see here line number 23, ob.c equal to 100. If you remove this comment, no, it will give you an error. Okay, so directly you cannot access. So instead of that one, there is one method setter. By that setter method, you can assign the value. And how to fetch the value of that variable private C, there is one method that is known as getter. With the help of that getter method, you can access the value. Setter and getter method, or set method and or get method, you can call it as. So you can see ob.setC. So ob.setC is a function call with the value as 100 as parameter. So ob.setC means it is a method which is going to be invoked in the class test. So here it will call. You can see this is in indirect assigning to the variable C. See, this way it will call the method, and this I will receive the value 100. Now when it moves inside, you can see C is equals to 100. In this way, we are able to assign the private variable C the value as 100 from outside the class. Now, similarly, how to fetch the value, you can see here. You can see over here, what will happen over here? You'll please observe here, over here, ob.a will display you the value 10, that is here. ob.b will display you the value 20. But ob.getC, we have to call it as. How it will display the value 100 over here, you can see the value is 100. But how it is able to see ob.getC is a function call. It will call here. Then inside this, the line number 13, there is a return C. So here, from here, it will return 100 to the line number 27 ob.getC. So here it is going to display the value. What is the value? 100. So it will display the value 100 over here. In this way, by this program, what you can observe is how to assign the value and how to fetch the value of a variable which is declared as private in a particular class from outside the class. I hope you all have understood this. Now, then same thing, what you people do is you all practice this program by removing this comment. You remove this comment from here, ob.c equal to 100, you assign it. And here what you do is you remove this function call and you write just C here, ob.c. Now you try to compile this, you compile this program, straight away you will get an error. What kind of error you can observe here? See, access test.java is having an error at line number 23. What is it is mentioning at line number 23? error C has private access in test. Can you understand now? It is giving ob.c equal to 100. It is an error. And one more error at line number 27. What is that? C has private access in test. So it cannot access. Access test cannot access the variable C from class test. You can see this is the error. I hope you all have understood this. So directly you cannot assign and directly you cannot access the variable which is declared as private. Instead of that one, you have to use setter method and getter method. So okay, I will make it as by default how it was previous. Okay, so now you can see, compile it. It is compiled now, run. So this is the way to assign and access the variable private. This is done. Now the next concept after the access control is understanding static, students. So now see here, static. What is the purpose of static? As you all know, in every program main method we will have static keyword. Okay, see here, there will be times when you will want to define a class member that will be used independently of any object of that class. Remember, this is the important point. This point you will understand with the second program in this topic only. Means when you are going to have a static keyword, you need not have an object to that particular class. If you want to note down, you note down. If a particular class is having a static keyword as declaration, there is no need for instantiation of an object. Okay, that is the purpose of static. Okay, so see here, normally a class member must be accessed only in conjunction with an object of its class. Like as we have seen just now, in this particular class, you can see there is a class test and there is a class access test. In access test, how you are able to access the above class test? By creating this object. This is the general thing. Okay, but when we are going to have static, no, you need not create an object. That you will see in the next program. This is very important. Okay then. However, it is possible to create a member that can be used by itself without reference to a specific instance. To create such a member, precede its declaration by static. So when a member is declared static, it can be accessed before any objects of its class are created and without reference to any object. Okay, so remember here, see the concept here. If a method is declared static, you see there are some restrictions. Methods declared as static have several restrictions. They can only directly call to other static methods. Okay, they can only directly access static data. They cannot refer to this keyword or super keyword. Okay, see the program over here, which I have copied here. See, I'm compiling it again, and you see here how, what is the program execution, the way you see when the program is executed, the whole class name is use static. Now which part is first loaded, that is you have to understand. So you see here there are three variables. First step, sorry, in second line and third line after the line number 2 declared with static. So these are the first variables which will be loaded into the memory. The purpose of static is loading into the memory. So before this line 20, there is a line 3 and 4 which are declared as static. So first this variable A will be 3, then B is declared. After that there is a method call. Okay, this will be called from somewhere. Okay, but after this you can see line number 16. So 16 is a block. What 16 block is consisting? It is consisting of some data. So this will be loaded into the memory. After this is loaded, now what you see here, after this is loaded, you can see in this what is happening. Actually it is printing something, so it will print the data. You can see here the output. After that is printed, line number 18 will be evaluated or computed. What it will be evaluated with or computed? B equal to A into 4, that is, so B equal to 3 into 4 it will be. So in the memory B will be loaded with the value of 20 3 into 4 12, that is fine. After that line number 20 will be loaded into the memory. What it will be loading? It will be loading in the memory method call, that is method 42. So from here it will call this part. So method 42, x is 42. Now line number 7, it will display x equal to whatever the value that is. What is the value? It is 42. That is this line. Then line number 8, it is displaying a. That is 3. Then line number 11, it is displaying the value of b. That is this. Okay, so remember students, with the help of static, what is the purpose of static is the variables or the blocks which are declared static, they will be loaded first into the memory. Remember, this is very important. Like these are the variables, they will be loaded first into the memory. This is the block, it will be loaded first into the memory. After that, in sequential order, it will come here. After that, this is a call. From here, now it will call this. But previously what it was, suppose if this is not a static, this is also not a static, this is also not a static. So what will happen, when this is the thing, if this is the thing, it will come directly from here. This will be the first thing. So remember, anything which is declared as static, that thing will be loaded into the memory first. Please note down this. Okay. These students, as I said just now, there will be times when you will want to define a class member that will be used independently of any object of that class. Okay, normally a class member must be accessed only in conjunction with an object of its class. So however, it is possible to create a member that can be used by itself without reference to a specific instance. Remember this, without reference to a specific instance. That point I'm going to explain now with the help of this program. This is very important program. What is the name? Static by name and static demo. I have already saved the program. Just I will open it. Static by name and static demo. You see in this program, I have copied. I'll provide the line numbers and I will execute this program. You all please see here. You will understand the output. That's not a issue, but I will execute it, and after that I will show you. Static by name. Okay, Java C. Okay, spelling mistake. That is compiled. This is done. So now students, see here the point which I highlighted now. What point I highlighted to you all? That is this one. It is possible to create a member that can be used by itself without reference to a specific instance. Okay, to create such a member, precede its declaration by static. This is the point. So see here students, in this class, before this class, as I said just now, in class access test, to access this class test, what we have done in class access test, we have created an object. Okay, with that only you can access. But in this program, you all observe here, in class static by name, at line number 10, you see we are calling which method? The method call me from the above class. How we are calling? You see, we are directly giving the class name dot call me. We are not creating any object like in the previous concepts. What we did, what we have seen, if we want to call a method of some other class, we have to create object, then using that object dot method name we have to give. But here we are directly giving in line number 10 the name of the class dot that method name. Why? Because this method in the above class is declared as static. So if it is declared as static, you need not create an object to access it. Directly you can access it by specifying the name of the class with the method name, like that. I hope you all have understood this. Similarly, then the next thing is, if you want, now you see this will call this one. Inside that there is a println method. It will print this. 42. Okay, I hope you all have understood this. That is done. After that is done, line number 11, you see b equal to what it is, how it is able to access. It is not accessing with the help of object. Okay, ob dot something like that. It is not accessing. It is directly accessing with the class name. What is the class name? Static demo. So see here, static demo dot b. Directly it will access here. Okay, I hope you all have understood this. With the help of static, if anything is declared as static, so you can access it directly with the help of class name dot that method name. Similarly, the class name dot that variable name if it is declared as static. See here, this variable b is declared as static over here. I hope you all have understood this also. Yes, students. Next topic is introducing final. So remember here, any variable which is declared as final cannot be modified. Like you can see over here, the first, there are four variables. What are the variables? New, file open, file save as, file quit. All of them are assigned with the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now all the variables are declared with final keyword. You all can observe here. So when you are declaring final keyword, you cannot modify it, you cannot update it. Like if you write a code final new plus plus, that will not be implemented. Why? Because sorry, file new equal to 1. No, suppose in your program if you have written file new equal to 1, below that you are going to write file new plus plus. That kind of a code will not be implemented. Means why it will not be implemented? Because file new is declared as final. So that is only the meaning of final. Means if you have assigned some value to a variable and declared it as static with the keyword static, it cannot be modified. It will remain like that only with that particular value what you have given at once with final keyword. That's it. Forever it will be with that value only, like that. So you can see a final can be declared as final. Doing so prevents its contents from being modified. Like that it is. I hope you all have understood. Then the next topic is arrays revisited. Revisited means again you are going to see. Okay. What now in this particular arrays revisited, only one thing you are going to see, that is the demonstration of one variable. Okay, length instance variable, that is known as in arrays topic. Now you are able to see in this program, you can see the command. This is going to demonstrate the length array number. Now as you all see in the main method, you see this array 1 was initialized or allocated with the memory with the size as 10. Now over here this array is initialized with some values over here. What are the values? See how many values are there. You count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 values. Now what about this array 3? They are initialized with 4 values over here. So array 1 10 allocated with size as 10, array 2 initialized with the values how many? 8, and array 3 is initialized with 4 values. That's it. Now you are able to see the output a1 dot length. You can see in the output, that is it is giving the value 10. Okay, so how you are able to display? You are able to display with the variable name length. So array 1 a1 dot length, it will calculate the size of the array. Similarly a2 dot length will give you the size of array 2. Similarly a3 dot length will give the size of array 3. That's it. So that's it. In arrays revisited, it is demonstrating the instance variable length. That's it, students. With this, the next topic is introducing nested and inner classes. Just a second. I'll write the output over here roughly. So students, you all see here What are nested inner classes? Nested and inner classes, that is the new concept. See here, there are two classes. First of all, this is the one class. This class is named as class outer, and there is a main class that's name is inner class demo. Okay, but you see in class outer, there is one class that is this thing, this one. Okay, this is the class inner which is inside outer. Fine. So that is, you can say a class is nested inside a class. Now, how the execution is, you see in main class, this is small outer. This is an object to outer class. Now this is a method called outer.test. So it will call this method, test method. Okay, and this test method, inside that there is an object created to the inside class, that is inner class of outer class. Now below that you see inner.display. So it will go inside inner class and it will display whatever is there. So inside this display, it is displaying you the variable outer x. So outer x from this line is 100. So this outer x is displayed here as an output. Okay, I hope you all have understood. I'm going to clear these drawings. So what is this demonstration is, this is an inner class which is nested inside this particular class outer. Okay, then you all please observe here, this program is not going to get compiled. Why it is not going to get compiled is, you please observe here. Again, this is the concept of inner class only. This is the class outer. And where is the inner class? It is from here. Okay. Inside the outer class, there is another class, inner class. Now, students, you all see here, execution starts from this outer object. Outer.test means it will call to this method test. Now inside that there is an object inner to the inner class. Inner.display means straight away it will call this method. But you see, you all please observe here. You can observe here that what it is displaying is over here, it is displaying the value of outer x. That is correct. Inner class can have the variable which is global to it. Outer x is global to inner, so it can access. But you see, y equal to 10 is local to this inner class only. See students, this is the code for inner class, and y is known in this boundary only, the one which I've rounded. And you all please observe, the method show y is outside the inner class, but it is inside outer only. It is inside outer only, but it is outside inner. So if it is outside inner, and here this method is trying to display y, so this will give you an error. Why? Because the value of y equal to 10 is local to its inner class only, which cannot be known outside. Okay, I hope you all have understood this. See, y is declared as an instance variable of inner, thus it is not known outside of that class, and it cannot be used by show y. That's it students with this one. Now simple program, its demonstration is demonstration of inner class within a for loop. Okay, yeah, please see here, it's very simple. This is the output it is displaying. Okay, that is not that much important. You just see where is the for loop? See, again, same concept, class outer. This is the class outer. Inside that, this is the test method. Test method is from here till here. Okay, it is from here till here. Inside that, there is a for loop. From where to where? From here till here. Inside the for loop, you have got class inner. Okay. So first of all, in a class outer, there is a class inner. But where is that class inner? It is inside a for loop. That is very important, student. I'm going to clear this. In class outer, there is a for loop. Okay, for loop is also under test. Under test method, there is a for loop. Inside the for loop, you have got inner class. Okay. Suppose it will display this. See here, for loop, what it is going to do for loop? It will evaluate for 10 times 0 to 0 less than 10 means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so until 9. So 10 times it will evaluate. And what it will evaluate? This display method. How many times? 10 times. So same output 10 times it is displaying. I hope you all have understood this concept. A class can have another class inside it. That is a class which is nested inside a class. That's it, student, with this one. Next topic is a few basics you will see here with string class. In detail, you will see in third unit or fourth unit, that is related to strings, string buffer, related with the concept of file handling. Over there, you will see. Now, few things you will see over here, exploring the string class.